Welcome to the When It Matters podcast, brought to you by Kirkwood Bank and Trust. This podcast provides in-depth interviews with business owners and banking experts about how to better your financial health and be prepared for the moments that matter. I'm Scott Meschke, the Dickinson president. Today's guest is Naomi Rossow, owner of Naomi Rossow Realty. Thanks for driving in today. It's a gorgeous day. It was a nice day for a drive.
Yes, it was. Thanks for having me.
We'll get started with a few questions here. First, can you share a little about yourself, where you're from, and your background?
I was born and raised in Williston, North Dakota. I have a sister and two brothers. My grandpa was a farmer. We were fortunate to grow up around our grandparents and many cousins. So my background in agriculture started early in life and was most of my childhood. My husband, Roger, and I, we make a good team. I'm a real estate broker. He's a livestock dealer.
So how does running that cattle ranch in Western North Dakota help your clients make the best decision about the properties they're looking at?
Well, I think having a background in agriculture has been an asset to my real estate career. It helps me understand facets of the land, how the markets are affecting values, economic impact and what it's doing to prices. And it helps me be a resource to my clients. And if I need to find the answer to something, I usually know who to ask.
You know, in that kind of mix of what you do for a living between the real estate company and cattle ranching, how do you balance your work-life relationship, being busy on both sides? I imagine every day is a long day for you.
Balance is the key, but at the end of the day, the ranch in Western North Dakota is where we want to be. Our family enjoys that as much as we do, so it works out well. We make it work.
Perfect. A lot of times when you're in business like this, you get a lot of young people that look up to you. Do you have any advice for someone that would want to get into ranching, would want to get into the real estate business as a startup? Any, words of wisdom for those folks?
Scott, my advice would be about the same for any business you were starting, whether it be real estate, ranching, an agricultural entity. Work hard. Don't take the shortcut. Show up. I think an important thing that I've learned is keep an open mind to change and learning, and be true to yourself and fair to the people around you, and never give up.
That's good advice. You can kind of use that advice in any business. So
yes.
You have a role model that you try to emulate?
When you ask me that question, so many people pop into my mind. But if I need to pick one, it's going to be my parents. Mom and Dad spent, we have so many different things we spend our time on now in the lifestyle we live. But back then, when my siblings and I were growing up, Mom and Dad spent their time on us. And that was it. They were involved with us in 4-H. We showed cattle, we had horses, we rodeoed. Those are all things you do as a family, and it takes your family's support to get those types of things done. Mom and Dad taught us how to work, and they taught us how to get up when we fell down, and every night before we went to bed, they told us they loved us. And I'm grateful to have had their example.
I've known you for almost 20 years now. I wish I would have been able to meet them at some point. So you sound like great role models.
They're special.
How did you actually get your start? I think when I first met you, you were in the real estate business, and I knew you had a cattle background, but how did you kind of get your start in both of those areas?
Well, growing up in Williston, I had an uncle that raised Hereford cattle. And when I was in the 4th grade, I was in 4-H, and I bought my first show steer from my uncle. And that was kind of the beginning. Thinking back, I remember the first year I bought it, he financed me. I didn't have to pay for the steer until I sold him. But the next year, he had me go to the bank and get a loan so that I started learning about that process. And that's where it started. And now my husband and I own a ranch in western North Dakota, and we also own a small feedlot in South Dakota.
So in your last answer, you talked about that first financing of the cattle when you were young. And so today, fast forward a number of years, how important is it to have a relationship with your banker to manage the financial aspects of both your businesses?
Scott, that level of confidence and trust that you have with your banker, it's very important. We've been banking with you for over 15 years, and I think the relationship that we have encourages us to move forward and try new things. We come into your office, we bring ideas, you listen. Kirkwood's been supportive. You know, I always tell my kids, in order for a relationship to be good, both sides need to feel lucky. And Roger and I appreciate the relationship we have with you and Kirkwood Bank. And we feel you appreciate us too. And I think that's really important, and I think that has a lot to do with individual success.
Perfect. Yeah, and that feeling is mutual. I think when we are dealing with clients on a daily basis, that kind of give or take both ways goes a long ways in that relationship long term. So I completely agree with what you have to say there. This one's kind of a canned question that you get from people depending upon what you're doing in life. But 10 years from now, where do you see yourself professionally and personally? I think I know the answer to part of that, but where do you see yourself 10 years from now?
Oh, 10 years from now, the good Lord willing, I'm still healthy enough to be doing everything I'm doing now. A family, friends, real estate, ranching, agriculture, North Dakota. Honestly, there is nowhere else in the world I'd rather be. It's a good life. I've been to your place. I would want to be there too. So it's an amazing place. Absolutely.
What are some moments in the life of your business that really mattered to where you are today?
Well, there's a lot of them. I can think of a few specifically. Of course, it had to do with successful transactions when I helped somebody else find the ranch of their dreams, or an older couple was moving on and ready to sell, and they were happy with the young family that moved in and purchased it. Having the ability to be successful, the confidence to take chances, has helped me as an individual and my husband and I expand our existing operation over the years. And I believe in successful family relationships, working together to make things happen. And the ranch we started with has grown a little bit in acreage since we initially purchased it. And I believe in buying land when you can. It's a good asset to own.
Yeah, you and I have talked about that a number of times, and I think that's actually some good advice. So, any other financial tips that you might have for anybody that's out there listening to this podcast?
Be brave, be smart, have confidence in yourself, and trust your gut. Don't let someone talk you out of something that you think is going to enrich your life. Listen to your gut.
Yeah, that gut statement is a big deal, and a lot of people out there sometimes forget, if it just feels right, do it.
Well, and I've never been disappointed when I've listened to my gut, but I remember times when I didn't, and I regretted it.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything else you'd like to add today?
Yeah, Scott, I would like to compliment you and your staff at Kirkwood Bank in Dickinson. That's where we do our business. We have other family members doing business there. And every time I walk in the door, it's the same smiles. It's excellent service. They call you by name, and in this ever-changing, busy world, it's really extraordinary to have managed to still keep that small-town bank feeling. And that's what we get when we go there, and that's why we keep coming back. So good job.
Thank you very much. A sincere thank you to that, and my staff, I'll make sure they hear that. They will appreciate that as well.
Please do.
Where can people learn more about you?
www.landofdakota.com. And, I advertise locally and involved with the Badlands Board of Realtors, and they can go there, find me, and give me a call if they need information or need advice or just want to know something about the changing markets.
Perfect. Thank you for making the drive out here today. It's been a pleasure working with you and Roger all these years. I look forward to many years of this continued relationship.
Thank you, Scott. And I just want to add that we appreciate the personal interest you take in your clients and the personal interest you take in our family. And we appreciate it when you come out and help us round up cattle when it's time to ship in the fall. And hopefully we see you out there at the ranch again this year. Thank you.
That's a great day. It's kind of fun to come out and get out of the office and see what your lifestyle is all about. I really enjoy doing that when that happens. So thank you as well.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the When It Matters podcast. Subscribe for new episodes and connect with us online at Kirkwood Bank and Trust on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And for more information or to speak with one of our financial experts, visit kirkwoodbank.com. Kirkwood Bank and Trust, member FDIC, equal housing lender.